I just want to thank Chicano Park and the council for letting us come here today and do this interview. You know what I'm saying? We guys got to remember, man, this is a sacred place, and we got to respect the boundaries that are set here. You know what I'm saying? So please respect the murals, respect the community, and that's what we're here for, man. I mean, just support the community. Blessings to all.
Love you guys.
Let's go. What up, though? Blessings to all. Man, I'm honored today to be in Chicano Park. You know, this is a big historical movement in San Diego, you know. And I figured, why not do the first podcast in a place that where we come from, you know what I'm saying? It's all about being united, and that's what I'm trying to push. United we stand. And I want to talk to Coach Guerrero Fitness. I'm going to let him introduce himself and let you know a little about himself.
Yeah, man, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be here, you know, and it's a blessing. First time being here at Chicano Park, very historic place that I heard about years and years, and man, I'm happy to be here. And yeah, my name is Yofan Enriquez. I started my online coaching, you know, about going on 5 years. Guerrero _fitness. You guys could find me on Instagram, Guerrero Fitness Lifestyle on YouTube. But yeah, I'm here, man. I'm just you know, someone that, you know, came from Mexico at 4 years old. Who would have thought, man, that, you know, this Mexican, you know, kid, you know, at 4 years old, stepped here into the United States because my mom went and picked me up. And now I'm here helping others, breaking limiting beliefs that, you know, me, myself, didn't think it would be possible, you know, to do.
And you know what I love about it is like his name. His name is straight indigenous, Yofan. And he's from, where you from again?
Well, my mom's from Puebla,
Yep.
you know, and my dad's from Guerrero, Mexico.
So that's south, really south of Mexico. It's Oaxaca, Puebla, and then you have Guerrero's like the coastal areas. So he comes from the deep roots of Mexico, you know. And that's why I'm like, man, like if somebody that came here at a young age can do something with their lives, why the ones that are born here, why can't they do it themselves? You know what I'm saying? And it's a perfect example. He was a truck driver for how many years?
19 years as a truck driver. And yeah, I mean, I knew that there was more to it ever since I was growing up, man. I mean, I didn't come from a wealthy family. Like I told you guys, my mom, you know, came to the United States for a better life. She met somebody here, you know, which that became my stepdad. They went and picked me up. My brother was already born, and I didn't even know she was my mom. I thought my grandma was my mom. I was like, when they told me, hey, you're gonna go with I was 4 years old, you know, mind me, and I was tripping out. I was like, well, who is this lady? You know, that's her mom. You know, so it took me, you know, sometimes to really start getting to used to calling her mom, and but man, it was a rude awakening because there was a lot of issues, you know, at Hispanics, you know, household. You know, when I came here, you know, man, that pad had about maybe 8 families living in there, man. So, you know, we relate with that, man. So it was a madhouse. It was a madhouse. It was all about working. It was about chasing that paper, but it was like barely the bare minimum. Like bigger 7 families in one household. Like we're there, and there was a lot of like just movement. A lot of people coming from Mexico, staying there. You know, and then boom, shipping out to Washington or wherever. Different places in the United States.
You're the hub.
Yeah,
You're the hub.
We were the hub. I didn't know. I just knew a lot of families would come and go. And I used to meet a lot of people there. I was little, you know. I grew up there, and it was tough. It was rough.
How normal is it to grow up in a Hispanic community and you're like the hub? Oh, my tios are coming. My cousins are coming. We gotta go get them. We gotta help. Hold them for a little bit till they find somewhere to go. It's so common in our culture.
Yes, to they pay the coyote. Or friends. Or relatives. You know, sometimes it was just people that, hey, who's this? Well, that's so and so cousin, friend, and it was like, every weekend they'll be playing baraja con quién, and I'll be watching all this kid running around and just drinking. You know, work, drinking, and pretty much that was it. That's just what I learned, what I seen. You know, and the girls, you know, cooking, and sometimes, you know, I'll see little arguments and fights and all that because of, well, fuck, man, they get drunk, they get stupid, and problems, man.
And as a child, man, watching people like just come, get a blanket, sleep in the living room, it's it's something different because other kids don't grow up like that. You know, it's just mostly our community that does that. But you as a father now, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel like putting your kids in that type of situation where you just let random family members come to the house and just sleep, so that, like, make your house a hub?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, I think that right there was what drove me to be like, man, you know what? Like, damn, I ain't trying to live like this, man. We had to watch, you know, when we not to step over anybody. We were like people right there in the living room, you know, with just little blankets and I just seen so much that I was like, as I was growing up, and I seen so much like poverty, I would say, and sadness and like not really that much happiness, you know. So I was like, hey man, I thought we came here to like better ourselves, you know. But this doesn't look to me like we're like living no lavish life over here in United States, you know. The what they call it, like we'll come here to chase that dream, and but you know what, you know, whatever, you know, our circumstances were, like we always get that little piece, you know, of like what our parents, you know, went through, and kind of like the same style in a sense, because as I was moving up in like when I was older and I was having kids, I opened my home to a lot of my homies, a lot of my people, you know, because I learned it from them. They needed like, you know, a pad to stay so they could, you know, stack some money so they could get their pad. My pad was always open, you know, and my wife, you know, we always welcome families. I had a lot of my homies go there. At a sense, I kind of made it like a party pad in some sense, but I had a lot of my people that in her family, her brother, her sisters, they were all staying with us at a certain point till they stacked up and did their thing or just to better themselves, you know. But I got that from them, even though like we see it like, oh man, like kind of like, oh, how could you live like that? Like other people will see us like, but it's almost like we're trying to help one another, so united, you know, unidos, like what you're talking about, you know. So all that came from that.
It's been a seed that's been planted a long time ago, you know.
Okay. This way, like this. Oh, this side. Okay. Like here. Okay. Okay.
And go ahead. It's like a seed that's been planted, and like we don't know like where it comes from, but it's been generational, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's what you've been doing so well, like as a family man. You've been breaking those curses, you know what I mean? Especially for the community and the way you're leading. And especially I admire how you put Guerrero because of your wife's maiden name. I think that's for a man to do that, it speaks highly about him, you know, because you're honoring somebody, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's who you have a life with now. You guys have 3 beautiful kids, and in our community, it's not so common for us to stick around because either we get locked up, we're always doing other stuff that we're not supposed to, and we make it normal to our kids to be dysfunctional, you know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that as a father, and that's what I admire, that you don't do none of those things. I don't know about the past, but as we see now how you try and teach people and you teaching people, it's like, it's hard to do. And I feel like a lot of people that have real addictions and come from the struggle, they don't know what suffering means, you know what I mean? And I feel like it builds you different. Once you can take the pain of suffering, it builds you different if you can overcome that, you know?
Absolutely. If you utilize that pain to better yourself. See, the thing is that we don't have, a lot of us, we don't have no hope. Like, we think that, you know, that's pretty much the cards that we were dealt with, you know? A lot of people think like that because they're broken, you know, they're not mentally, you know, groomed to think that, you know what, they could be better, you know? It's just, we're in ignorance. A lot of us, we don't know. Some of us, we do, see, pain, you know, pain that teaches us, you know, pain is there to teach us, but we take it as like, you know, in a sense of like, oh, that shit, you know, it broke me, you know, and I tried something, it broke me, it didn't work, and now it's kind of like, there goes your dream, there goes your hope, you know, like, you don't see it as like a learning lesson, you don't see it as like, so I learned through all this, like, you know, no, that's gonna make me better, because we can't just quit. No, we gotta get back up and fight and on to the next, you know, or pull from whatever, like, our failures and better ourselves. So I learned that through, you know, me just not giving up, because I didn't want to, like, give my kids, what I didn't have. I didn't want them to go through what I went through, where like one thing that I did say to myself, and that's what always in back of my head, and I have issues with my relationship as well. I fall short. We all fall short, you know?
Yeah.
But my reminder always was that, like I never knew my dad. My real dad, I never knew. All I know is he was from Mexico. He was from Guerrero.
Yeah.
My grandpa told me that was the place that you don't want to go. That's all the bad people there. That's all bad,
Yeah,
I didn't know, so that's all I know about him. But so I just said to myself, man, when I'm gonna have my kids, I'm gonna be there for them. I'm gonna try my hardest. Because I see my mom, my stepdad, always having issues too. So I was like, fuck, man, like nobody right here, like nobody wants to put up with nobody shit. Fucking, so that was another thing that I seen. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna try to, be that either. Like I'm gonna try to be different because, I just told myself this. And I remind myself all the time that I want to fucking give up, or I want to tap out, or I want to throw in the towel too, because you will get overwhelmed. You get, especially dealing with somebody else's emotions.
It's another backpack. You're like, it just drags you down.
It is, man, and especially like, us, man, that the machismo and how we've been, just taught to be that, hey, you know what? Just nobody's gonna tell me shit, especially Haina, or your lady. You better just listen. Yeah. And nowadays they ain't fucking staying still. They ain't staying quiet. They're gonna voice their opinion. And that's the problem. They say, they got Americanized. But you know what I'm saying. But I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, though, like I mean. If that's the woman that you marry, obviously it's for a reason. If you love her, always be like, reminding yourself, like, hey, man, sometimes I heard this, quote also. Always quotes, and when I read, I always take these gems and apply them. And even though it's hard to do, but it's helpful. That book, reading and all this stuff that they put out there, if you utilize it, it empowers you when situations that you just want to crack. I heard this one guy said, a lot of times, us, man, what we gotta, and even couples, as a couple, what we gotta do is, instead of divorcing, one another, we gotta start divorcing our habits, our bad habits.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's very true. Hit me. Yeah. And we don't do that.
We're too prideful.
Yeah.
I don't got a problem. She don't got a problem. Why do I gotta fix myself?
Exactly. Pointing fingers, like, no, well, you do it. Well, you ain't doing it. Well, fuck, I won't do it either. Then, and that's just, who's gonna say the last word? Who's gonna fucking,
that part.
Yeah, exactly.
That
like
part.
You're walking away and you're still saying like, well, fuck you, and then and then they throwing you that back. You're like, shut up, So it's always like, never ending, So sometimes it's choosing peace over being right all the time. Sometimes you're like, fuck, man. Like I see it as like I have these gems that help me, because look at Ciskoe, I still fucking go through shit, man. Like I told you guys before, I could be having my meeting with my group. I fucking just got done getting chewed out over a stupid argument, and sometimes that's expensive if I'm gonna give it the energy, because then I'm gonna come to the meeting, the Zoom call that I have to perform and show you guys, like how to stay positive and motivated, and I'm fucking here like, oh man, like I just broke character. I just fucking, said something that I'm regretting, and it's in back of my head, so I'm always like, you know what?
I think we're all guilty of that, man. As men, it's like some men don't like to talk about it. They like to put a front like, oh, we're good. But it's like, nah, man, if you're like really trying to help people, if you're really out there putting yourself, it's like you just gotta be honest. Like I tell people, I'm guilty of so many bad decisions I've made as a partner, as a father, and that's why I'm trying to like learn to be better. That's why I do all these little things, and I want to be involved with people, because I feel like my mistakes can help people like you. You grew up, where'd you grow up at?
Baldwin Park, SGV. That's right there is pretty much Baldwin Park's a small city, obviously, hood.
Yeah.
So, we're all around. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the San Gabriel Valley. Yeah. Baldwin Park, Bowling, and we got Monty.
East side
or
the north side?
East side.
East side.
So that's pretty much my stomping grounds. I was right, when I came here at, in the United States, to top it off, I was right next to the fucking spot. We were the hub for all the immigrants, but then I was like our neighbors were the spot for where all the shit was, all the movement was cracking, cracking. As I got older, that's what kind of I gravitated towards that, because, I seen that, the cars, I seen the money, I seen, the homies coming out of prison, looking, on point, earning that respect. People looking at them different, even like when they used to say what's up to us because we were neighbors, even like my uncles and them, they used to be like, give them that respect, out of respect, we were neighbors, but they look more cool than, me being over here where like, hey, these guys were coming home from work, tired, beat, and these guys are pulling in Cadillacs, Beamers, and all that to the spot. I'm like, what the fuck do they do over there, man? I want that. And that's pretty much where I gravitated towards, and they gave you that attention. That's another thing that I had. Their kids, and as I went to school, that was like the cool thing to do back then. It seemed cool at the time because we were looking for acceptance. I was looking for somebody that would give me the attention. I didn't have it at home because my mom was working. She used to work at a factory sewing. She'll come home, and my stepdad, all them to construction or whatever they were doing, late hours. You know how that is. And I was pretty much home alone. My brother too. We used to warm up tortillas and bologna because we were hungry. We were like, fuck, man, like we gotta fucking eat something. There was nothing really there for us to like look forward to. When we got out of school, it's just like, okay, what the fuck do we do now?
There was no leadership. There was no
guidance, no leadership. No, exactly.
My mom used to work the graveyard shift. My mom worked the graveyard shift at a factory. I think most of our families or moms, parents come from those type of lifestyles, and they're just too busy trying to provide. That they just do the minimum, and they don't mean it in a bad way because they know they gotta survive, and it's sad because we take advantage of that because we start making excuses, as kids and as teenagers. Well, you're not there for me, you're not doing this. But if you look at the big picture, now that we're grown, you're like, damn, man, these people really came to another place where they're not even from illegally, and they fucking working these late hours for the bare minimum to provide and give us something, and we're here taking advantage of it because we don't become better. We actually make an excuse to become worse.
And make it harder on them. And I picked that up at my teenage years, Ciskoe. Like I said, I never done like big time prison time, but I did get my taste as a juvenile hall, and did all the camps, all the juvies that, obviously, as a young age, my mom's the one that locked me up, but because she didn't have it, she wasn't gonna have it. She was not gonna put up with that shit. So
old
I got
school.
Old school. She was like, homies ain't coming here. This is not a kickback spot. None of that shit. So as a matter of fact, you know what? You're costing me money. You don't listen. Like,
vámonos.
Hey, you know what? She tried to put me in jail, but she did catch me slipping when she found half a pound at my brother's closet, and that did it. That sealed the deal because she couldn't. I was too like alert. I was too aware, so she wouldn't catch me like doing anything where like my probation would be like, okay, now can you take them? Until she found my stash, and then that was pretty much, that was it. It was a wrap. But my point here to this is that I learned at a young age to not blame or point fingers, because a lot of people do that. Like you said, they'll blame their mom or their circumstances. That's why I'm not good, because of my parents. They weren't there, and that's why I turned out to be this way. No, motherfucker, like you had a choice. And you still chose to be someone that just wanting to run the streets over listening to your parents or helping them, or at least be there from and not give them a fucking hard time. Because that's what we do. I was giving her a hard time. Like, do you think she needed me to fucking give her a harder time when she used to go to work day and night and come and still fucking have to go pick me up from school because I got in a fight or missing work? Oh, motherfucker. Like, every time they used to pick me up from school because something happened, I'll get an ass whooping. And I'm talking about not extension cord.
Chanclas.
No, chancla wasn't doing no more. She'll get the extension cord and she'll be sit down right there. You cost me money like that. She was fucking, and she'll fucking just smack me with the fucking cord until like leave me marked. But hey, that was her way of like disciplining. That was her way of like, you know what, mother, like this is not gonna happen.
Let me ask you this: when you got your first kid, as a young adult, being with your wife, what did that do to you, having your first kid? Like, you knew like that lifestyle where you were growing up, where you're from, like it's gonna bring nothing good. Like, what knocked in your head and said, you know what, I'm just gonna be a provider, I'm gonna be a father, I'm gonna be a good husband? Because Because most of us don't learn with
Yeah.
our first child.
Yeah.
We don't, and I'm guilty as that all the way across the board. I realized it a little too late. For somebody that realized it a little bit early, like yourself,
Yeah.
that didn't go through all that stuff that everybody else did, is like, what clicked in your head and said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, man. This is what I want for my kids, for my wife. Or you didn't have no plan; it just kind of happened.
No, I did, because like I said, you know what, I got my taste out of a young age, and I was able to see, you know what, the path that I was going, and you know, that was the losing path. That was the loser path. I seen it from the fucking, like, I was laced and groomed by the OGs, but also by, you know, my parents, which, you know, they were trying to tell me, like, come on, man, like, you got to do better. Like, we didn't come over here just for you to fucking just destroy your life like that. Like, I was going, you know?
Yeah.
So when I'm a good, one thing that about me is, like, I'm a good listener. I absorb, and I never disrespected my mom or like, try to, like, I always just, I fucked up, I let her do what she had to do. I never talked back, I never yelled at her, I never cussed at her, nothing. I just, hey, I took it like a fucking, like, I deserved it.
Yeah.
But I always listened to her words, and I always felt bad, you know, because, you know, even though I was here, you know, doing my shit and getting into drugs and doing drugs, like, my mentor, my older homie, was still grooming me and lacing me in a way of, like, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you to fucking kick rocks, but just, you know, don't be a fallout guy, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be somebody that's just gonna be used and abused, because that's what we're doing here, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, you're under my wing right now because, you know, I got close to you. Obviously, he couldn't have kids, you know, so he kind of took me as, like, almost like I was his child. You know, after I found out later that, you know, once I was a little older, but he was grooming me and lacing me, like, putting me up on game and just telling me, like, how the whole fucking scenario works. Where, like, hey man, like, there's a lot of hoods coming in here, like, what's going on here? Like, I thought fucking they're enemies, you know. Like, what I go, he's like, we're past that, you know. That's this just, like, but that's the street shit, man. This right here is above all that. Like, that right there is just, they're doing it because that's just the way that, you know, this, it's already implanted, it's embedded already here, you know. That's something that you can't control. But this is more than that, you know. This is when money talks, you know. He was showing me, like, just how, you know, you recruit people, you use people. Those are the people that are going to put in the work. Those are people, like, just shit that didn't make sense to me, because they were like, well, I thought this is homie. I thought this is brotherhood. Like, you know, what you're telling me to fucking pump this guy up and telling him that we have his back, and you already have him on a mission. I'm like, well, somebody's got to do it. Straight out, you know. So I was like, fuck, how the fuck do I get out of this shit? You know, like, I don't want to fuck that. Like, am I gonna be next? Like, I was already, like, trying to, like, I don't like this shit, you know, like, this is not the fucking life that I want. This is not the route that I want to go. And that's what changed me. That's where I was like, you know what? Nah, man, fuck this shit. You know, I got to do something else. I want more, you know, like, to myself. I used to, like, always, like, think, you know, to myself, like, nah, man, like, I don't want this life. Like, how the fuck do I get out of here, you know, without me, like, making it seem like I'm a punk or I'm punking out, you know? So
that's just the criteria we call ourselves. Like, if we feel like we're not doing something we're supposed to on the streets. Oh, you're a punk. You're like, hey, since when did we, like, who gave that label? Who are you? Anybody say you are that? You know what I mean? You're not providing for me. You're not giving me
but
this.
See how we've been groomed and think to believe that, you know, we're obviously, you know, like, the way that I see it, you know, like, we're people pleasers, you know. We seek validation. You know. So that's the whole get down. I don't want to look like no fucking chump. Like you said, who says that you're a chump because you don't want to do something that's gonna put you in a fucking, you know, in prison, or you're gonna go on a mission where you know where, well, that's gonna happen. It's like, either you're gonna get got or you're gonna go do time. So you're telling yourself you're a chump. Really? Are you a chump?
No.
Or no, that's just what they're going to
categorize. You're pumping yourself up so you can do it, you know? And so it's crazy.
It's crazy, Ciskoe, but like I said, you know, the whole key here is that I said, nah, man, you know what? I didn't even have a girlfriend. That's another thing. Like, fuck, bro. Like, I never had a chick. I never went to high school. 9th grade was the last year that I attended, and I only went for 2 months. I got picked up and I never was able to go back. I never seen high school. I never, you know, got involved with the chick. because I was always like just through my juvenile halls. I was just in and I was never like where I was participating in school and sports, which I wanted to do because I was doing that when I was in 7th grade in elementary. But I was like, fuck this, like what the fuck kind of shit is this? So that also drove me to be like, nah, man, I gotta, I want love, So I felt that right there was gonna pump my brakes.
So you
That's
want
what did it.
you want like
I wanted it.
You want love, like you seek love, and sometimes we, as minors or like being young adults and being in the streets, we seek love in all the wrong places. We want to be accepted. We want to be part of something. Because
Accept it. Yeah, you said.
And then the thing is, like, when you start giving your love, let's say you as a father, what type of love do you give to your kids, to your wife? No love is perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Love is love. Love can mean anything to anybody, but like if you were here and be like, if your kids are your daughter and your 2 boys and your wife was right here standing, hearing right now, like what would you say? Like what type of love do you have for them? Like how can you express yourself as a man without feeling like, oh man, I'm gonna sound in some type of way? Nah, man, I feel like we need to express ourselves sometimes,
Attention, the attention that they need, not just saying that you're, their father, but okay, where's the time and attention and affection, That's what I didn't get, so that's what I was going to give. Exactly what I didn't get, which, it was attention. We want attention. Can I get some attention?
Have you ever seen one of your boys or one of your daughters cry? Have you ever seen them like shed a tear just for like shed a tear?
Just because no.
No, like they feel sad or they or like les dijiste algo or like lo regañaste. Like si lo regañas, si lo regañas, they say you just schooled your boys or your daughter and like she starts crying. Then your wife goes, "Why'd you talk to him that way?"
I did it twice and I never did it again, man, because it was hurtful. See, my youngest, he's tough. He's like me. He's not emotional. My daughter's not. And my daughter tells me, like, I'm like you, Dad. I'm not emotional. I have a strong mindset. My daughter tells me that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But one time I did, went a little bit strong because, look, I'm still learning, too.
Yeah.
And I was never shown that. So it's still, like, I tell my team members that I still fall short, Like, they're like, how do you show affection? How do you show love? And I'm like, I'm still practicing that,
Yeah.
Because, I set an example this past weekend on the call, one of the team members going through that, and I told him, like, my kids know that. They know that, Pops, I'm a provider. I'm there as much as I can, but to show affection is not easy for me, Like at night, my wife, she lived different. She had her mom and dad. She had that love, she had 2 parents. Yeah, so she's like, good night, son, good night, daughter. Like telling them good night.
That's cool.
And I'm hearing this. I'm in bed. I'm listening to him, and I'm like, say it, fucker, say it.
Yeah. You better say it.
Yeah.
You better
and
say it. Yeah.
Me voy a dormir and I don't say it. Or sometimes I'll be like, hey, good night, kids. Love you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I tell my wife, they didn't tell me nothing back. And she's like, they're not used to it. They're probably just saying you're fucking around with them. Because como lo digo,
Yeah.
I still say like plain because I still don't feel like comfortable. But I love them, But it's just to express myself like that. It's like
it's crazy, y'all.
It's crazy, man.
You know what? My homeboys. That's what I admire about my homeboys. All of them, like the ones that got boys. Like my homeboys, I see them with their sons. They'll be like, "All right, son, love you, son," and I'll be like, "I love you, son." Even my older homie tells his my homeboy, like Carlos tells Carlitos, like, "Hey, son," I'll be like, "Damn," I'll be like, "That's crazy." Like, even my homie Pio would tell his little son, Then my homeboys are good dads, homie. And I just tell them like, I always wanted to be a good father, but I was in prison. I never had that joy. I never had that. Hey, mommy, like I never enjoyed that time with my daughter.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, I was never there for her. Never. I was always in prison. My love for her was a letter and visits when I had visits, and it was only so limited. So I never knew how to express or be a guide. Like, so when I see parents that come from where I come from, like you and my community, when they call the kid son, like mommy, like it's like, damn, dog, like imagine that. If you've always had that.
Yeah.
I'm barely learning to step those stepping grounds, like, man, like, and there's days I still like, oh, well, fuck, okay, my pride doesn't let me be a good dad.
Yeah, it is. It's
my pride.
But you know what? It's just like we'll go back again to learn behavior. We'll go back to, you know, your upbringing.
Yeah.
You know, we'll go back to, like, you know, your environment.
Yeah.
You know, that's it, man. So don't punish yourself. I tell people, you know, because look at, you know, even though, you know, I changed and I said, you know, I'm gonna do what, you know, my best to be the father that I didn't have, but other people will be like, oh, well, this guy's not doing it, you know, to the extent that I'm doing it. I mean, comparing yourself to, you know, others, you know.
And I have a question, because the whole point of this podcast is to talk about the in between, what people don't talk about, the struggle, the motivation, the consistency. Like, if there's somebody there that wants to change, or somebody that comes from the struggle that does not know where to start, what type of advice would you give them, dog? Like, what can they hold on to that you can share, like something just to get your foot in the door, man?
Absolutely, man. Check it out, guys. You know, this is what I'm gonna tell everybody out there that are struggling, you know, that are going through hardship, you know, lost their loved ones. You know, you guys gotta forgive yourself, forgive that person. It all comes with forgiveness and understanding that, you know what, we could all change. You know, we could all forgive, you know, ourselves on whatever you guys think that you guys did, that you guys can never come back, or you guys can never, you know, have a life that you guys deserve, because we all deserve better. See, God forgave. You know, the thing about it is that you guys are looking at in a human being's perspective. But if you look at it in a spiritual way, you could be forgiven. You got to stop punishing yourself. You guys got to stop punishing yourself, raking yourself over the coals, because from now on, moving forward, you could change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. But it's going to take work. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take every day telling yourself that you want better. And you're going to have challenges. You're going to have hiccups. You're going to have reminders of why you should be a deadbeat, why you should be stuck at the place that you created, because of all the hurt, because of all the bad that you did. But that right there is the devil. That right there is evilness that wants to see you tortured, wants to see you broken, and you got to fight. You got to push through. You got to give yourself that chance. And I'm showing you guys that it is possible here with change, seeking someone that's going to, you know, change the way you think, shatter that belief that you have. It takes unity, like my boy Ciskoe said. It takes unity. It takes a community of like-minded individuals that have done it already at a different level, that what you do not think that is possible.
And it's true, man, because I feel like everybody has demons, right? Everybody has
that's what it is.
Bigger demons than others, themselves. You know? And some of them just scratch your back daily. And I feel like that's where the biggest mountain comes, you know, because
the biggest battle is right
some
there.
People don't know, like, man, how can I shake that person? How can I shake that man that I was? And how can I just have a new beginning, man? And everybody wants to do so much. Everybody wants to be so big. But I feel like the struggle, the nights that, like, man, like, you know what? I don't have much to give right now, like, but once you start believing and having something bigger in your heart than what's in front of you, that should push you, man, to, like, you know what? Tomorrow's a fresh start. You could have fucked up today. It's okay. But I feel like we're too hard on ourselves sometimes, that you're like, you know what? I'm going to stop today. No, man.
It is, Ciskoe. You rake yourself over the goals.
Right,
you gotta stop breaking yourself.
You start a new day. Every day is a new start, man. It doesn't matter how long it fucking takes you. Fucking tomorrow, you start again. Don't let that day define you, man. Tomorrow, you start fresh. You fuck up, you start again. But then you start taking criticism and you start feeling guilty, like, oh, man, I ain't fucking up. You're not fucking up. You're doing better than most. You know why? Because you're still trying.
Absolutely.
Some people don't try. Some people stay in the same fucking place. Yeah, they might have a lot of things, but they're not doing nothing else.
100%. See, because guilt and shame are the two worst combined negative emotions to have, because you're killing yourself slowly. Yeah. Guilt and shame, remember that.
Yeah.
And the only way to trump that is forgiving yourself. You know, because that's what you guys do, is punish yourself.
Yeah.
I know that, because I even get that, you know, like, I don't deserve this. Like, fuck, it seems so unreal. Like, man, like, when the things that I thought that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish, and I have them now, and I see others that, you know what, that person, he's struggling, like, it makes you feel bad.
Let me ask you this: like, when you were in your gray area in your life, there had to be a dark moment where you're like, man, I'm just tired of this shit. I'm over it. Like, and look how successful you are now. You know what I'm saying? And there's still so much more to grow, right? And it's like your kids are growing up too. It's like, man, like you think about like, man, what if I would have given up that day? What if something would have happened if I wouldn't push and I wouldn't be where I'm at? Like, what held you to keep pushing? Honestly, like what told you, you know what? I have to do this.
That I was not going to be a failure to my kids. That I was not going to be a failure to my marriage and to the people that are, looking up to me, and that, once I spoke and once I said, you know what, I was going to do this and I was going to talk, that right there is my own accountability on upholding my word to you guys, to my family, and not only that, to myself, because that's who I am, One thing that I always held, and a lot of people go co-sign and bounce back and co-sign, that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, man.
Let me ask you this.
My name's on the line.
This is going to be good. This last one's going to be like, if you had your wife right here, your 2 boys, and your little girl, I would want you to tell your wife what your wife means to you, both of your boys, in a separate dialogue, like a separate language. What's your language with your wife? What's your language with your 2 boys? And what's your language with your little girl? How would you put it? As Guerrero the dad, the husband, not Guerrero the coach, just the family man. What would I tell my wife? What would you tell? What's your love language to your wife? If your wife was sitting right there,
you're my ride or die. I'm gonna ride it out till the wheels fall off. And I'm not gonna go nowhere.
Your little girl.
My little girl is, I'm gonna be the best father, that I could be, so you could know that's how a man should treat you. And that right there is like,
that's gold.
It's what I try to like always, and that's the reflection of how I am with my wife, and that's what fucking grounds me, man. To not get out of control.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, because I'm like,
porque si un pendejo trata a tu niña así, it's like, come on, dog.
Oh man, that's right there. You hit me with that
come
one.
Come on,
there,
dog. Hey, we sometimes be like, man, we got daughters, man. The day so fool acts out of pocket with my kid, you're like, come on, un pendejo se pasa. Come on, dog.
Yeah, it's on and cracking, man.
And your 2 boys, like, they're grown already, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at them, dog, like, I see them, you know what I'm saying? I've met them, and they're good kids. And quiet. They're visual, you know what I'm saying? They move in silence.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you telling them, each one of them, like, what does each one of them mean to you? Like, you got to look at them, dog, because I've seen them. They work with you. They're always with you. They work out with you.
Yeah.
Most dads don't have that with their kids. Like, what can you say about them, dog? Like, what would you tell them, man? Like, without telling them, because you see them every day. They're with you every day.
I just tell them, hey, son, you know what, man? Go after, what you want in this life, and don't let nobody stop you. Don't let nobody break you. And the only way that you're going to do that and be able to accomplish that is by working on yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. That's what I got to tell them, man. Straight up, because that right there was going to ground them. Because, hey, life is hard.
Yeah.
When you're out there and I'm not there, just remember what I said, man. Do not let nobody break you, nobody tell you any different. Go with what your heart is telling you to do. If you know that that's right and that's what you want to do, don't let nobody stop you.
Yeah, you can't. That's the warrior's way.
It is.
You follow your heart.
100%, not 100%, because how many people are going to come in disguise, try to derail you, try to stop you, try to tell you, Ciskoe, nah, you're all right.
Yeah. And you know you're not all right.
Yeah. You're not all right. Don't do that. Knowing deep down inside that they're scared, because if you do it, if you end up fucking accomplishing that shit, that's going to fucking make them look like, oh my God, this guy made us really feel like shit because he did it, and I thought that fucking guy was a failure. I thought that guy was gonna be a loser. I thought that guy was not gonna accomplish shit, and he just fucking proved us different. It didn't work. We were trying to hold him back.
You know what?
That shit.
That's what I
Don't give
love.
Nobody that satisfaction.
Never. You know what? I've never, even though I have my backslides, and I always remember, like, you know what? I don't want to live in a box no more. I don't want to be that person.
Fuck no.
And there's nothing to prove, man. The only thing we got to prove to ourselves and to the community is, like, there's change out there.
Yeah.
No matter what you go through, whether you're a drug addict, an alcoholic, people are going to criticize you. for whatever you do in life, you know what I'm saying? But don't let people have that control over you, because if you want to change, man, there's steps you got to take. Regardless if you've been all the way in the bottom scratching the floor, that person doesn't know that struggle. So they're good to fucking point the finger. Just know that there's God, there's you, and there's God.
Yep.
And you follow your heart and do what you're supposed to do. I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, Guerrero, for coming and opening up and telling us about yourself. Hopefully there's more to come. Blessings to all.
Appreciate you, Carnal. Same thing, man.
That's
Like
it.
he said, my man said right here, we only report above. That's it. Nobody else. Follow your heart. Much love and respect. Let's run it.
Gracias. Gracias, carnal.
Yeah.